She was ready to spend Thanksgiving alone, until a billionaire knocked and changed everything. Jennifer Peterson thought she knew exactly how her Thanksgiving would end. Alone with a frozen dinner and her regrets. She'd made peace with it, or so she told herself. Then someone knocked on her door. A man she'd never seen before stood in her hallway, holding her mail and an apology. He had the kind of smile that made her forget she'd given up on romance. What she didn't know was that he was a billionaire who'd just moved in down the hall. And he was just as lonely as she was. Close your eyes for just a moment. Think about the last time a story made you feel something real. Made your heart race. Made tears fall without permission. Made you remember why being human is so beautifully complicated. That's what we do here at CJ Stories. Whether you're returning or just discovering us, welcome home. This is your safe space for tears, laughter, hope, and everything in between. Today's story will take you somewhere unexpected. It'll make you think. It'll make you feel. And I promise you, you won't see the ending coming. But here's the thing, the magic only works if you stay till the very end. No skipping. No rushing. Just you, me, and a story that might just change how you see the world. If it moves you, let me know you're here, subscribe, like, and share this with someone whose heart needs touching today. Ready? Let's step into today's story. Jennifer Peterson stared at the frozen turkey dinner sitting on her kitchen counter and wondered when exactly her life had become a cliché. 35 years old. Thanksgiving. Alone. A meal for one that would cook in the microwave in 8 minutes. She picked up the box, turned it over, read the instructions she'd already memorized twice. Outside her apartment window, Charleston's historic district glowed in the late afternoon sun. Families walked along the cobblestone streets below, heading toward restaurants with reservation lists months long. Couples strolled hand in hand past the antique shops on King Street. Jennifer set the box down and walked to her window. Her reflection stared back at her in the glass. Same dark eyes that used to light up around the holidays. Same full lips that hadn't smiled, really smiled, in longer than she wanted to admit. Her natural hair was pulled back in a simple bun. Comfortable. Safe. Alone. Her phone sat silent on the coffee table. No calls. No texts. Just a notification from her email about Black Friday sales starting at midnight. She'd told herself this was fine. She'd convinced herself that spending Thanksgiving alone was a choice, not a circumstance. Her father was in Atlanta with his new wife and her family. Her brother was stationed overseas. Her closest friend from work had invited her to join their family dinner, but Jennifer had declined. Something about sitting at someone else's table, being the guest who didn't quite belong, felt worse than being alone. At least that's what she'd told herself 3 days ago when she'd bought the frozen dinner. Now, standing in her quiet apartment with the smell of someone else's cooking drifting through the vents, she wasn't so sure. Jennifer walked back to the kitchen and opened the microwave. She was reaching for the turkey dinner when someone knocked on her door. She froze. Nobody knocked on her door. Ever. Her building had a security entrance. Deliveries got left in the lobby. Her neighbors kept to themselves. The knock came again. Firmer this time. More insistent. Jennifer walked to the door and looked through the peephole. A man stood in the hallway. Tall. Well-dressed in dark slacks and a charcoal sweater that probably cost more than her rent. White. Late 30s, maybe. He had the kind of face you'd see in a business magazine, strong jawline, carefully maintained stubble, dark blonde hair styled with the kind of casual perfection that took effort. He was holding a stack of mail. Jennifer opened the door but kept the chain lock engaged. "Can I help you?" The man looked up, and his eyes were the clearest blue she'd ever seen. He smiled, and something about it seemed genuinely apologetic. "I'm so sorry to bother you. I'm Jeffrey Lockwood. I just moved into 4C down the hall. The mailman delivered some of your mail to my apartment by mistake." He held up the envelopes. Jennifer could see her name on the top one. She closed the door, unlatched the chain, and opened it wider. "Oh. Thank you. Thank you. The mail situation in this building is terrible. So I'm learning." Jeffrey handed her the stack. His hands were clean, nails trimmed. No wedding ring. "I've gotten mail for 3 different people in the past week. I wasn't sure if I should slip it under your door or knock, but I figured knocking was more neighborly. I appreciate it." Jennifer took the envelopes. Electric bill. Credit card statement. A flyer for a yoga studio that had closed 6 months ago. Nothing important, but he didn't know that. Jeffrey glanced past her into the apartment, not in a creepy way, just casual observation. His eyes landed on the frozen turkey dinner sitting on the counter. Something shifted in his expression. Recognition, maybe. Or understanding. "Well, I'll let you get back to your evening," he said, taking a step back. "Happy Thanksgiving." "You too." Jennifer started to close the door. Are you? Jeffrey stopped himself, shook his head. Sorry. Never mind. Have a good night. Jennifer's hand paused on the door. Are you what? He looked uncomfortable now, like he'd crossed a line he hadn't meant to approach. I was going to ask if you were spending Thanksgiving alone, but that's absolutely none of my business. I'm sorry. I have a terrible habit of talking before thinking. I am, Jennifer said. She wasn't sure why she admitted it. Spending it alone, I mean. Jeffrey nodded slowly. Me too. They stood there in the hallway, two strangers connected by the universal awkwardness of solo holidays. I ordered enough Chinese food to feed a family of 6, Jeffrey said. The restaurant felt bad that I was ordering takeout on Thanksgiving, so they doubled everything. I have enough spring rolls to supply a small village. If you wanted to, he stopped again, running a hand through his hair. I'm making this weird. I'm sorry. I just moved to Charleston 2 weeks ago. I don't know anyone. You seem nice. You're also alone. I have too much food. That's the pitch. Terrible pitch. I'm usually better at this. Jennifer felt a smile pulling at her lips before she could stop it. Better at what? Inviting strange women to eat Chinese food with you. Better at not sounding like a complete disaster of a human being. Jeffrey's laugh was self-deprecating. Genuine. I'm a tech CEO. I give presentations to investors for a living. I can convince venture capitalists to give me millions of dollars. But apparently, I can't invite a neighbor to share takeout without sounding like a character from a bad romantic comedy. You're a CEO? Jennifer heard the skepticism in her voice. Unfortunately, yes. Jeffrey pulled out his phone, showed her a Wikipedia page with his photo. Jeffrey Lockwood, founder and CEO of Lockwood Technologies. The first line mentioned his net worth. Billionaire. Jennifer's eyes widened. You're a billionaire eating Chinese takeout alone on Thanksgiving? The rich are just like you and me, except with better takeout options and more existential loneliness. Jeffrey pocketed his phone. That was a joke. Mostly. Look, you don't know me. This is weird. I get it. But I promise I'm not dangerous. Just pathetic. And I really do have enough egg rolls to feed Charleston. Jennifer looked at him. Really looked at him. His eyes were kind. Tired, maybe, but kind. His smile didn't have the sharp edge she'd learned to recognize in men who wanted something from her. He just looked like a man who didn't want to eat alone on Thanksgiving. She glanced back at her frozen turkey dinner. 8 minutes in the microwave. Alone with Netflix and the smell of other people's happiness drifting through the walls. What kind of Chinese food? She asked. Jeffrey's face lit up. Everything. Literally everything. I didn't know what I wanted, so I ordered one of everything on the menu. The woman on the phone tried to confirm the order 3 times. She thought I was catering an event. That's insane. That's Thanksgiving alone in a new city where you don't know anyone and you're trying to avoid thinking about why you're alone in the first place. Jeffrey said it lightly, but Jennifer heard the weight underneath. The same weight she'd been carrying all day. Give me 5 minutes to change, Jennifer said. Really? Really? But if you're a serial killer, I'm going to be really disappointed. I had low expectations for today, but getting murdered would definitely push it into worst Thanksgiving ever territory. Jeffrey laughed, a real laugh that reached his eyes. I promise my worst crime is overordering Chinese food. And maybe talking too much when I'm nervous. Why are you nervous? Jennifer asked. Because you're beautiful and I'm trying very hard not to make that the reason I invited you to dinner, even though it's definitely part of the reason, and now I'm talking myself into a corner again. Jeffrey took a breath. 5 minutes. I'll leave my door open. Come down whenever you're ready. No pressure. If you change your mind, I understand completely. He walked down the hallway toward his apartment. Jennifer watched him go, then closed her door. She stood in her entryway, heart beating faster than it had in months. This was crazy. She didn't know this man. He could be anyone. The Wikipedia page could be fake. Rich people could be dangerous too. Actually, rich people could probably be more dangerous because they had resources to hide things. But something in her gut told her Jeffrey Lockwood wasn't dangerous. Just lonely. Just like her. Jennifer walked to her bedroom and looked at herself in the mirror. The comfortable clothes she'd planned to spend the evening in suddenly felt wrong. She changed into dark jeans and a soft burgundy sweater. Nothing fancy. Just effort. She let her hair down, fluffed it out. Added mascara and lip gloss. Not a date. Just dinner with a neighbor. A neighbor who happened to be a billionaire. A very handsome billionaire who'd looked at her frozen turkey dinner with the same recognition she'd felt looking at his admission of loneliness. Jennifer grabbed her phone and keys. She paused at her door, took a breath, and walked down the hallway to apartment 4C. The door was open, just like Jeffrey had promised. Warm light spilled into the hallway. She could smell ginger and soy sauce. "Hello," she called. "Come in." Jeffrey's voice came from deeper in the apartment. "I'm trying to figure out how to arrange 15 containers of food on a table meant for 2 people. I'm failing." Jennifer stepped inside and stopped. The apartment was beautiful. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the Charleston harbor. The furniture was minimalist but expensive. Everything was clean, organized, deliberately chosen. But it also felt empty. No photos on the walls. No personal touches. Just the bones of a life not yet lived. Jeffrey stood in the dining area, surrounded by takeout containers. He'd changed too. Dark jeans. Navy Henley. Barefoot. Somehow that detail made him seem more real. More human. "I told you I overordered," he said, gesturing at the spread. "I wasn't kidding." Jennifer walked closer, looking at the containers. Sweet and sour chicken. Beef with broccoli. Lo mein. Fried rice. Dumplings. Spring rolls. Enough food for 10 people, easy. "This is ridiculous," she said. "I know. We're going to be eating leftovers for a week. I was hoping you'd help with that." Jeffrey pulled out a chair for her. "Sit. Please. Tell me about yourself while I pretend I know how to be a functional host." Jennifer sat. Jeffrey started opening containers, setting out plates and silverware. His movements were efficient but slightly awkward, like he was used to having people do this for him. "What do you want to know?" Jennifer asked. "Everything." Jeffrey sat across from her. "Start with why you're in Charleston. Why you're spending Thanksgiving alone. What you do when you're not accepting dinner invitations from strange billionaires." Jennifer picked up a spring roll. "I work in graphic design for a marketing firm downtown. I've been in Charleston for 8 years. I'm alone today because my family is scattered and I didn't feel like being someone's pity invite. That's the facts. Now tell me the truth." Jeffrey's eyes met hers, and Jennifer felt something shift in her chest. "My mom died 2 years ago. Thanksgiving was her favorite holiday. Being around other families just reminds me that mine doesn't exist the way it used to." The words came out before Jennifer could stop them. Raw. Honest. The kind of truth she usually kept buried. Jeffrey set down his chopsticks. "I'm sorry. I'm really sorry." "What about you?" Jennifer asked, deflecting. "Why is a billionaire CEO alone on Thanksgiving?" "Because money doesn't buy connection. It just buys better isolation." Jeffrey smiled, but there was sadness underneath. "I spent the last 5 years building a company. I sacrificed relationships, friendships, anything that wasn't work. 2 years ago, the woman I thought I'd marry left because she was tired of coming second to my ambition. She was right to leave. I just didn't realize what I'd lost until I woke up one day and realized I had everything I thought I wanted and no one to share it with." "So you moved to Charleston," Jennifer said. "So I moved to Charleston. New city. Fresh start. Attempt to figure out who Jeffrey Lockwood is when he's not in a boardroom." He picked up his chopsticks again. "How am I doing so far?" "You're doing okay," Jennifer said. And she meant it. They ate in comfortable silence for a while. The food was good. The company was better. Outside the windows, the sun set over the harbor, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. Jeffrey told her about growing up in Boston, about building his first computer at 12, about the moment he realized he could turn code into something that mattered. Jennifer told him about her love of design, about the satisfaction of creating something beautiful from nothing, about how her mother used to save every birthday card Jennifer had designed for her. "She kept them in a box under her bed," Jennifer said. "After she died, I found 73 cards. Every birthday. Every Mother's Day. Every random Tuesday I felt like making her something. She kept them all." "She loved you," Jeffrey said quietly. "She did." Jennifer felt tears pressing behind her eyes but didn't let them fall. "She really did." Jeffrey reached across the table. His hand hovered near hers, not quite touching. "An offer." Jennifer took it. His palm was warm, his grip gentle. "Thank you for knocking on my door," she said. "Thank you for not slamming it in my face," Jeffrey replied. They smiled at each other, two lonely people finding unexpected comfort on a holiday designed for families and gratitude. And for the first time in 2 years, Jennifer felt something other than grief. She felt hope. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button for more emotional and heart-touching stories that speak to the soul, and share your thoughts in the comments to tell us which story you want to hear next. Now let us continue. The Friday after Thanksgiving arrived with rain. Jennifer woke to the sound of it drumming against her windows, steady and soft. She lay in bed for a moment, staring at the ceiling, thinking about the night before. She'd stayed at Jeffrey's apartment until almost midnight. They'd talked through dinner, through dessert that neither of them had ordered but the restaurant had included anyway, through pot after pot of green tea. They'd covered everything from their favorite books to their biggest regrets, from childhood memories to career aspirations. Jeffrey had walked her back to her apartment at 11:45, had said good night with a smile that lingered in her mind long after she'd closed the door. Now, in the gray morning light, Jennifer wondered if she'd imagined how easy it had been. How natural. How comfortable she'd felt sitting across from a man she'd known for less than 4 hours. Her phone buzzed on the nightstand. A text from a number she didn't recognize. "Good morning. It's Jeffrey from down the hall. I realized after you left that I never got your number, so I had to do some mildly creepy internet searching to find it. I promise I'm not a stalker. Just a guy who has 17 containers of leftover Chinese food and a hope that you might want to help me finish it. Lunch today? If you're not busy. If you are busy, that's completely fine. I'll just be here. Alone. With enough fried rice to sustain a small nation." Jennifer smiled at her phone. She read the text 3 times, analyzing the tone, the word choice, the carefully casual way he'd asked. Then she typed back. "How creepy was the internet searching? Scale of 1 to 10. The response came immediately. "Maybe a 6? I found your LinkedIn profile and your company website. I did not look at your social media, though I was tempted. I'm trying to maintain some level of dignity here. Lunch sounds good. What time? Is noon too soon? Too eager? I'm trying to play it cool, but I'm apparently terrible at it. Noon is perfect. Your place or mine? Mine has better windows. And all the food. And I have a confession to make that's easier to admit in person." Jennifer sat up in bed. "Now I'm intrigued." "Good. Intrigue was the goal. See you at noon." Jennifer got up and walked to her closet. She pulled out 3 different outfits before settling on dark skinny jeans and a cream-colored sweater. Casual but intentional. She showered, spent 20 minutes on her hair, applied makeup with more care than she'd given it in months. Not a date. Just lunch. With a man who made her laugh. Who looked at her like she was the most interesting person in the room. Who'd held her hand across a table and made her feel something she'd thought was gone forever. At 11:58, Jennifer knocked on Jeffrey's door. He opened it wearing jeans and a gray t-shirt, his hair still damp from a shower. He smiled when he saw her, a genuine smile that reached his eyes and made something warm bloom in Jennifer's chest. "You're early," he said. "You said noon." "It's noon. It's 11:58. I was prepared to wait 2 more minutes before I started pacing nervously." "You were nervous?" Jennifer stepped inside. Terrified. Jeffrey closed the door behind her. "I spent the entire morning convinced you'd change your mind. That you'd wake up and realize having lunch with a stranger from the internet was a terrible idea. I didn't find you on the internet. You knocked on my door with my mail." Semantics. Jeffrey gestured toward the dining table, where he'd set out containers of food, plates, glasses of water with lemon slices. "I reheated everything. I also made coffee, if you want it. And I have a confession." Jennifer sat down. "The confession from your text." "Right." Jeffrey sat across from her, running a hand through his hair. "I didn't accidentally get your mail. I saw your name on the mailbox when I moved in. I looked you up online before I ever knocked on your door. I saw your design portfolio. I thought you were talented. And then I saw your photo on your company website and I thought you were beautiful. So when the mailman actually did deliver your mail to my apartment yesterday, I saw it as an opportunity. I could have just slipped it under your door. But I knocked instead because I wanted to meet you." Jennifer set down the spring roll she'd just picked up. "You wanted to meet me?" "Yes. Because you thought I was beautiful. And talented. Don't forget talented." Jeffrey looked uncomfortable now, vulnerable. "I'm telling you this because I don't want to start whatever this is with dishonesty. Even small dishonesty. I'm interested in you, Jennifer. I was interested before I knocked on your door. I'm more interested now that I've spent time with you. And I needed you to know that before we go any further." Jennifer studied him. His blue eyes were steady, honest. His hands rested on the table, open and still. He wasn't trying to charm her or manipulate her. He was just telling her the truth. "Thank you for telling me," she said finally. "Are you upset?" "No." Jennifer picked up her spring roll again. "I'm trying to decide if I should be upset or if I should be flattered. For what it's worth, I was really hoping for flattered. I'll let you know when I decide." Jennifer took a bite, chewed thoughtfully. "Tell me about your company. What does Lockwood Technologies actually do?" Jeffrey relaxed slightly, settling into more comfortable territory. "We develop software for healthcare systems. Electronic medical records, patient portals, data analytics. It's not sexy, but it's useful. And profitable." "How profitable are we talking?" "Uncomfortable amounts. The kind of money that makes people treat you differently once they know about it." "Is that why you didn't tell me last night?" Jennifer asked. "I mean, you showed me the Wikipedia page, But you didn't talk about the money. Because the money isn't interesting. It's just a number in a bank account. It doesn't tell you anything about who I am or what I care about. Jeffrey leaned forward. I've dated women who were more interested in my net worth than my personality. I've had friendships fall apart because people stopped seeing me as Jeffrey and started seeing me as a walking investment opportunity. It's exhausting. So you moved to Charleston to escape that. Partly. Also because I needed to figure out what I actually want my life to look like. I've spent 15 years building a company. Now the company runs itself. I have talented people managing day-to-day operations. I don't need to be in the office every day. So I'm asking myself what comes next. And what's the answer? Jennifer asked. I don't know yet. But I think it involves more than work. More than money. Maybe it involves connecting with people who see me as a person instead of a portfolio. Jeffrey's eyes met hers. Maybe it involves getting to know a talented designer who makes me laugh and doesn't seem impressed by my bank account. Oh, I'm impressed by your bank account, Jennifer said. I'm just not interested in it. That might be the best thing anyone said to me in years. They ate lunch and talked about Charleston. Jeffrey had spent the past 2 weeks exploring the city, walking through the historic district, visiting plantations and museums, eating at every restaurant that looked interesting. Jennifer told him about her favorite places, the hidden spots tourists never found. The coffee shop on Broad Street that roasted their own beans. The bookstore near the market that stayed open until midnight. The stretch of beach on Sullivan's Island where you could watch the sunrise without crowds. Show me, Jeffrey said suddenly. Show you what? Your Charleston. The places you love. I've been doing the tourist version. Show me the real city. Jennifer set down her fork. Like a tour? Like spending time together outside this apartment. Unless you're not interested. Which is fine. Jeffrey stopped himself. I'm doing the rambling thing again. You do that when you're nervous. You make me nervous. Why? Jennifer asked. Because I like you. Because I don't want to mess this up. Because it's been a long time since I've met someone who makes me want to be honest instead of impressive. Jeffrey's voice was quiet, sincere. I'm 37 years old. I've built $1 billion company. I can negotiate contracts and manage investors and make decisions that affect thousands of employees. But sitting here with you, I feel like I'm 17 again, trying to figure out how to talk to a girl I like without sounding like an idiot. Jennifer felt her heart speed up. You don't sound like an idiot. That's generous. I'll show you Charleston, Jennifer said. Tomorrow. If the rain stops. And if it doesn't stop? Then we'll get wet. Jeffrey's smile was bright enough to light the gray day outside. Tomorrow then. The rain didn't stop. Saturday morning arrived with the same steady drumming, clouds thick and low over the city. Jennifer texted Jeffrey at 9. Rain check? No pun intended. His response came immediately. Absolutely not. I was promised a tour. Rain is just atmospheric enhancement. Pick you up at 10? Jennifer laughed at her phone. You don't have a car. I'll get one. Give me 30 minutes. At exactly 10 o'clock, Jeffrey knocked on her door. He was wearing dark jeans, boots, and a rain jacket that looked brand new, tags still attached to the sleeve. You bought a rain jacket, Jennifer said. And a car. Well, I'm renting a car. Buying seemed excessive for one rainy day. Jeffrey held up an umbrella. Shall we? They started at the coffee shop on Broad Street. Jennifer introduced Jeffrey to the owner, Marcus, who'd been serving her cappuccinos for 6 years. They sat by the window and watched rain stream down the glass while they drank coffee and shared a blueberry scone. This is perfect, Jeffrey said. It's just coffee. It's not just coffee. It's your coffee shop. Your table. Your city. Jeffrey looked around at the exposed brick walls, the vintage espresso machine, the chalkboard menu written in careful script. You can tell a lot about a person by the places they love. What can you tell about me? Jennifer asked. You value authenticity. Quality over flash. You like places with history, with soul. You're loyal. You've been coming here for 6 years, which means when you find something good, you hold on to it. Jennifer felt her cheeks warm. That's a lot to get from a coffee shop. Tell me I'm wrong. She couldn't. Because he wasn't. They drove to Sullivan's Island next, parked near the beach access. The rain had softened to a drizzle. They walked along the shore, shoes in their hands, waves rolling up to meet their bare feet. The beach was empty except for a few seagulls huddled against the wind. My mom used to bring me here, Jennifer said. Every Sunday morning when I was little. We'd collect shells and build sandcastles and she'd tell me stories about her childhood in South Carolina. She grew up poor, worked 3 jobs to put herself through college. She was the strongest person I've ever known. Jeffrey walked close enough that their shoulders almost touched. She sounds amazing. She was. She believed in me even when I didn't believe in myself. When I wanted to quit design school because I thought I wasn't good enough, she sat me down and showed me all those cards I'd made for her over the years. She said anyone who could create that much beauty had an obligation to share it with the world. She was right. I miss her. Jennifer's voice cracked slightly. Every day. But especially on holidays. Especially in places like this. Jeffrey stopped walking. He turned to face her, rain speckling his shoulders, his hair curling slightly in the humidity. Thank you for sharing this with me. For sharing her with me. Jennifer looked up at him. His blue eyes were soft with understanding. He wasn't trying to fix her grief or minimize it. He was just standing with her in it, letting her feel what she needed to feel. You're easy to talk to, she said. You're easy to listen to. They stood there on the empty beach, waves rushing around their ankles, rain falling gentle and steady. Jeffrey reached out and tucked a strand of wet hair behind Jennifer's ear. His fingers lingered for just a moment, warm against her skin. I want to kiss you, he said quietly. But I don't want to rush this. I don't want you to think this is just physical. Jennifer's breath caught. What if I want you to kiss me? Then I would very much like to know that. I want you to kiss me, Jeffrey. He stepped closer. His hand cupped her cheek, thumb brushing across her skin. He gave her time to change her mind, to pull away. But Jennifer didn't move. She just looked up at him and waited. When Jeffrey kissed her, it was soft and careful and full of intention. His lips were warm despite the rain. His other hand found her waist, pulled her closer. Jennifer's hands came up to his chest, feeling his heartbeat fast and strong beneath her palms. The kiss deepened slowly, naturally. Not urgent or demanding. Just two people discovering each other, taking their time, savoring the moment. Rain fell around them. Waves crashed at their feet. The world narrowed to just this, his mouth on hers, his arms around her, the overwhelming rightness of being exactly where she was. When they finally pulled apart, Jeffrey rested his forehead against hers. That was worth getting wet for. Jennifer laughed, breathless. Smooth. I have my moments. They walked back to the car hand in hand. Jeffrey turned the heat on full blast while Jennifer shivered in the passenger seat. He drove them back to Charleston, to a small restaurant Jennifer loved on Queen Street. Over lunch, they talked about everything and nothing. Books they'd read. Movies they'd loved. Embarrassing childhood stories. Dreams they'd given up and dreams they still held close. Jeffrey told her about his brother in California, about Sunday dinners with his parents in Boston, about feeling like he'd traded connection for success and was only now realizing the cost. Jennifer told him about her father's remarriage, about feeling displaced in her own family, about building a life in Charleston that was hers alone but sometimes felt lonely in its independence. What do you want, Jennifer? Jeffrey asked. If you could have anything. If nothing was in your way. What would your life look like? Jennifer thought about it. Really thought about it. I want to do work that matters. I want to create things that make people feel something. I want to wake up and feel excited about the day instead of just getting through it. And I want someone to share it with. Someone who sees me. Really sees me. Jeffrey's hand found hers across the table. I see you. I know, Jennifer said. And she did. By the time they got back to their building, it was dark. They stood in the hallway between their apartments, neither quite ready to say goodnight. Thank you for today, Jeffrey said. For showing me your city. For trusting me with your memories. Thank you for the rain jacket and the rental car and the best rainy day I've had in years. Can I see you tomorrow? You're seeing me right now. Can I see you tomorrow and the day after that and the day after that? Jeffrey amended. Jennifer smiled. Yes. He kissed her again, soft and sweet, right there in the hallway. When he pulled back, his eyes were bright with something that looked like happiness. Good night, Jennifer. Good night, Jeffrey. Jennifer walked into her apartment and closed the door. She leaned against it, heart racing, smile unstoppable. Through the wall, she could hear Jeffrey moving around in his own apartment. So close. Right there. Her phone buzzed. A text from him. I'm already looking forward to tomorrow. Jennifer typed back. Me too. And for the first time in 2 years, she meant it. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button for more emotional and heart-touching stories that speak to the soul, and share your thoughts in the comments to tell us which story you want to hear next. Now let us continue. December arrived in Charleston with cool mornings and bright afternoons. Jennifer and Jeffrey fell into a rhythm that felt as natural as breathing. Coffee most mornings at her favorite shop. Lunch together when her work schedule allowed. Dinners at small restaurants tucked into historic buildings, or in one of their apartments with takeout spread across the coffee table. Walks along the Battery at sunset. Late-night conversations that stretched past midnight. 2 weeks after Thanksgiving, Jeffrey invited her to his office. Lockwood Technologies had a small satellite location in Charleston, just 5 people managing regional operations. Jennifer arrived at lunch with sandwiches from a deli near her own office. The space was modern and minimalist, all glass and clean lines. Jeffrey's office overlooked the harbor. He stood at the window when she arrived, phone pressed to his ear, talking about quarterly projections and market expansion. When he saw her, his whole face changed. The CEO disappeared. Just Jeffrey remained. He ended the call and crossed the room to kiss her hello. "You're a sight for sore eyes. Rough morning?" Jennifer set the sandwiches on his desk. "Just long. I had a board meeting at 7. East Coast time zones are not my friend." Jeffrey pulled her into a hug, resting his chin on top of her head. "But this makes it better. You make everything better." They ate lunch overlooking the water. Jeffrey told her about expansion plans, about opening new offices in 3 cities, about the constant pressure to grow even when growth felt exhausting. "Why do it then?" Jennifer asked. "If it's exhausting, why keep expanding?" "Because standing still feels like moving backward. Because investors expect returns. Because I built this company to matter, and mattering requires scale." Jeffrey set down his sandwich. "But lately I've been wondering if I built something that owns me instead of the other way around." "Can you walk away?" "Theoretically. I have people who could run everything. But it feels irresponsible. Like abandoning something I created." "Or maybe it feels like letting your child grow up and live their own life," Jennifer suggested. Jeffrey looked at her with something like wonder. "How do you do that?" "Do what?" "Say exactly what I need to hear in exactly the way I need to hear it." Jennifer smiled. "It's a gift." By mid-December, they'd settled into something that felt real and solid. Jennifer met Jeffrey's brother on a video call, watched them joke and tease each other with the ease of people who knew each other completely. Jeffrey met Jennifer's best friend from work, charmed her over dinner, and earned her approval with his genuine interest in Jennifer's happiness. "He's good for you," Simone said later, after Jeffrey had left. "I haven't seen you this happy since before your mom died." Jennifer knew it was true. She felt lighter. More hopeful. Like the world had color again after 2 years of gray. On December 15th, Jeffrey's parents came to Charleston for the weekend. Jennifer spent 3 hours getting ready for dinner, changing outfits 4 times before settling on a deep green dress that Jeffrey had once said made her eyes look luminous. She met them at Hall's Chop House, one of Charleston's finest restaurants. Charles and Patricia Lockwood were exactly what Jennifer expected. Polished. Educated. Wealthy in the way that came from generations of wealth, not just Jeffrey's success. His mother wore pearls. His father had a Rolex that probably cost more than Jennifer's car. They were kind to her. Polite. They asked about her work, her family, her life in Charleston. But Jennifer felt the assessment happening beneath the pleasantries. The quiet evaluation. The unspoken questions. Halfway through dinner, Patricia excused herself to the restroom. Jeffrey's father took a phone call outside. Jeffrey reached across the table and took Jennifer's hand. "You're doing great," he said quietly. "They're lovely," Jennifer replied, meaning it. "They are. But I can see you overthinking every word. You don't have to impress them. I want them to like me." "They do like you. How could they not?" Jeffrey squeezed her hand. "You're brilliant and beautiful and you make their son happier than he's been in years. That's all they care about." Patricia returned, sliding gracefully into her seat. She smiled at Jennifer, and this time it seemed warmer. More genuine. "Jeffrey tells us you're a graphic designer," she said. "He showed us some of your work. You're very talented." "Thank you, Mrs. Lockwood. Please, call me Patricia." She glanced at Jeffrey, then back to Jennifer. "I can see why my son is so taken with you." The dinner went well after that. Easier. By dessert, Jennifer was laughing at Charles's stories about Jeffrey as a boy, brilliant and stubborn and determined to take apart every electronic device in the house. "He built his first computer from spare parts when he was 12, Charles said. Locked himself in the garage for 3 weeks. We thought we'd lost him to teenage rebellion. Turns out he was just teaching himself to code." "I was a weird kid," Jeffrey admitted. "You were a focused kid," Patricia corrected. "You knew what you wanted and you went after it. You still do." Her eyes rested on Jennifer when she said it. The meaning was clear. After dinner, Jeffrey walked Jennifer to her car. The night was cold, December finally feeling like winter. He pulled her close, wrapping his coat around both of them. "That wasn't so terrible, was it?" he asked. "Your parents are wonderful. They liked you. I could tell." "How could you tell?" "Because my mother invited you to Boston for Christmas. She doesn't do that unless she approves." Jeffrey kissed her forehead. "Come with me. Spend Christmas with my family. Let me show you my world the way you showed me yours." Jennifer's stomach tightened. Jeffrey, that's a big step. I know. But I want you there. I want you to meet my extended family. I want to wake up Christmas morning with you. I want to show you the house I grew up in and the town I'm from and every piece of my life that made me who I am. What if they don't like me? Impossible. But even if they didn't, it wouldn't matter. Because I'm falling in love with you, Jennifer. I'm already halfway there. And I need you to know that before we go any further. Jennifer's breath caught. You're falling in love with me. Yes. We've known each other less than a month. I know. It's crazy. It's fast. But it's true. Jeffrey's hands cupped her face. You don't have to say it back. I'm not asking you to. I just needed you to know where I stand. Where my heart is. Jennifer looked up at him, this man who'd knocked on her door with her mail and changed everything. This brilliant, wealthy, complicated man who made her laugh and made her feel seen and made her believe in possibilities she'd stopped imagining. I'm falling in love with you too, she said. Jeffrey's smile was incandescent. He kissed her right there in the parking lot, deep and thorough and full of promise. When they finally pulled apart, both breathless, he rested his forehead against hers. Come to Boston with me, he said again. Okay, Jennifer agreed. Okay. The next week passed in a blur of planning. Jeffrey bought their plane tickets. First class. Jennifer tried to protest, but he just laughed and said he had more miles than he could ever use. She bought gifts for his family, spent too much money on things she hoped would convey the right impression. Thoughtful. Considerate. Someone worthy of their son. 3 days before they were supposed to leave, Jennifer's boss called her into his office. Richard Henderson was a good man. Fair. Reasonable. He'd hired Jennifer 4 years ago when she was still rebuilding her life after her mother's death. He'd given her opportunities to grow, to take on bigger clients, to prove herself. Now he sat behind his desk looking uncomfortable. Jennifer, you know I think you're tremendously talented, he started. Jennifer's stomach dropped. Nothing good ever followed that opening. We've been invited to pitch for the Meridian Hotel's account. It's huge. 15 properties across the Southeast. Complete brand refresh. It could transform this agency. That's wonderful, Jennifer said carefully. The pitch is December 23rd. In Atlanta. It's an all-day presentation. We need our best people there. Richard looked at her steadily. I need you there. December 23rd. The day she was supposed to fly to Boston with Jeffrey. I have plans that day, Jennifer said. I'm going out of town. I know this is last minute. I know it's the holidays. But this account could mean promotions, bonuses, job security for everyone here. And your work is essential to the pitch. No one knows this brand like you do. You've been developing the concepts for weeks. I've been developing concepts as an exercise. I didn't know we were actually pitching. The opportunity came up fast. The client saw some of our work and requested a meeting. This is the break we've been waiting for. Richard leaned forward. I wouldn't ask if it wasn't important. But I'm asking. I need you there, Jennifer. Jennifer thought about Jeffrey waiting at the airport. About his family expecting her. About Christmas morning in Boston and meeting his extended family and all the plans they'd made. Can someone else present my concepts? She asked. They're your designs. Your vision. No one can sell them the way you can. Richard's expression softened. I know you have plans. I know this is an imposition. But this is your career, Jennifer. This is the opportunity we've been working toward. Jennifer left his office feeling sick. She called Jeffrey from her car. Hey, beautiful, he answered. I was just thinking about you. We need to talk. His tone changed immediately. What's wrong? She told him. About the pitch. About Richard's request. About December 23rd and the impossible choice she was facing. So don't go, Jeffrey said when she finished. Tell him you have prior commitments. Tell him you're sorry but you can't change your plans. Jeffrey, this is my career. This account could change everything for our agency. And Christmas with my family could change everything for us. Don't you think that matters? Of course it matters. But this is my job. My livelihood. I can't just walk away from a major opportunity because the timing is inconvenient. Inconvenient. Jeffrey's voice was tight. Is that what our plans are? Inconvenient? That's not what I meant. Then what did you mean? Because from where I'm standing, it sounds like your work is more important than our relationship. Jennifer felt frustration rising in her chest. That's not fair. You of all people should understand work obligations. Your entire life is work obligations. Not anymore. Not since I met you. I've been restructuring my whole schedule to prioritize us. I turned down 3 board meetings this month to spend time with you. I moved my life to Charleston to find something real, and I found it with you. But apparently that only matters when it's convenient for you. You're being unreasonable. I'm being unreasonable? I bought plane tickets. I told my family you were coming. My mother is planning Christmas dinner around you being there. And you want to cancel because your boss asked you to work on a day that most people have off? It's not just work, Jeffrey. It's my future. It's my career. It's everything I've built for myself. And what about us? What about what we're building? Jennifer's throat tightened. Why does it have to be one or the other? Why can't you understand that both things matter to me? I do understand. That's the problem. I understand that when you have to choose, you choose work. Just like my ex did. Just like everyone I've ever tried to build something with. Jeffrey's voice cracked. I thought you were different. I am different. I'm just also a professional with responsibilities. Fine. Go to your pitch. Prioritize your career. But don't expect me to wait around while you figure out if I'm important enough to make sacrifices for. Jeffrey. The line went dead. Jennifer sat in her car, phone still pressed to her ear, tears streaming down her face. This wasn't how this conversation was supposed to go. She'd expected him to understand. To support her. To tell her to do what was best for her career and they'd figure out another time for Boston. Instead, he'd made it an ultimatum. Choose him or choose work. And Jennifer didn't respond well to ultimatums. She drove home, went straight to her apartment, and collapsed on her couch. Her phone stayed silent. No calls. No texts. Nothing from Jeffrey. She pulled up his contact, typed out a message 3 times, deleted it 3 times. What was there to say? She wasn't going to give up a career opportunity. She couldn't. Not for a relationship that was barely a month old, no matter how intense it felt. But the thought of losing him made her chest ache with a pain she hadn't felt since her mother died. Jennifer looked at the wall that separated her apartment from Jeffrey's. So close. Just a few feet of drywall between them. But it might as well have been miles. Her phone buzzed. Hope surged through her. But it wasn't Jeffrey. It was Simone. I heard about the pitch. You okay? Jennifer typed back through tears. No. I think I just lost him. Want me to come over? No. I need to think. Call me if you change your mind. And Jennifer? Whatever you decide, make sure it's what you want. Not what you think you should want. What you actually want. Jennifer set down her phone and stared at the ceiling. What did she want? She wanted the career she'd built. The independence she'd fought for. The security that came from relying on herself. But she also wanted Jeffrey. Wanted his laugh and his kindness and the way he made her feel like she was home. Wanted Christmas mornings and family dinners and a future that looked nothing like the lonely life she'd been living. She wanted both. But it seemed like she could only have one. And she had 72 hours to decide which one mattered more. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button for more emotional and heart-touching stories that speak to the soul, and share your thoughts in the comments to tell us which story you want to hear next. Now let us continue. Jennifer didn't sleep that night. She lay in bed staring at the ceiling, listening to the sounds of Jeffrey moving around in his apartment. A door closing. Water running. Footsteps pacing back and forth. He was awake too. At 3 in the morning, she heard his door open and close. Footsteps in the hallway. Then silence. She got up and looked through her peephole. The hallway was empty. Jeffrey was gone. Jennifer went back to bed but didn't try to sleep. She just waited for morning. Saturday arrived gray and cold. Jennifer made coffee and sat at her kitchen table, trying to work on the pitch presentation. But every time she looked at the designs, all she could think about was Jeffrey's voice on the phone. The hurt underneath his anger. The way he'd said he thought she was different. Her phone stayed silent all day. No calls. No texts. Nothing. By Sunday afternoon, Jennifer couldn't take it anymore. She walked down the hall and knocked on Jeffrey's door. No answer. She knocked again. Jeffrey, I know you're upset. I just want to talk. Please. Silence. Jennifer pulled out her phone and called him. It rang 4 times, then went to voicemail. She didn't leave a message. What could she say that wouldn't sound like an excuse or an apology she didn't mean? She went back to her apartment and tried to focus on work. The Meridian pitch was in 3 days. She needed to be prepared. But her heart wasn't in it. Every design looked flat. Every concept felt empty. On Monday morning, Jennifer went to the office early. Richard found her at her desk at 7:30, surrounded by printouts and sketches. You look terrible, he said. Thank you. That's exactly what every woman wants to hear. Richard sat on the edge of her desk. What's going on? Nothing. I'm just working on the pitch. Jennifer, I've known you for 4 years. You don't look like this over work stress. What happened? She told him. About Jeffrey. About Boston. About the fight and the silence that had followed. Richard listened without interrupting. When she finished, he was quiet for a long moment. Do you want me to find someone else for the pitch? He asked finally. Jennifer looked up, surprised. You said you needed me there. I do need you there. The pitch is stronger with you. But I don't need you there if it costs you something that matters more. Richard's expression was kind. I've been doing this job for 25 years. I've closed big deals and lost big deals. I've had success and failure. And you know what I've learned? The deals always come around again. The opportunities always return. But people? The right people? They don't. This account could transform the agency. Maybe. Or maybe we lose the pitch and find a different account next month. That's business. It ebbs and flows. He stood up. But if you walk away from someone who makes you happy, someone who sees you and values you, because you were afraid to prioritize your own life over your job, that's a loss you might not recover from. I don't want to let you down. You won't. You've never let me down. You're one of the best designers I've ever worked with. Which means you'll have other opportunities. Other pitches. Other chances to shine. Richard smiled. But you might not have another Jeffrey Lockwood knocking on your door with mail and Chinese food. Jennifer felt tears pressing behind her eyes. What if I've already ruined it? What if he doesn't forgive me? Then you'll know you tried. And that's better than spending the rest of your life wondering what if. After Richard left, Jennifer sat at her desk and thought about what he'd said. About opportunities and people. About what mattered and what lasted. She thought about her mother, who'd worked 3 jobs but never missed a school play or a birthday. Who taught Jennifer that success meant nothing if you had no one to share it with. She thought about the last 2 years of her life. The loneliness. The empty holidays. The feeling that she was building a career but losing herself in the process. She thought about Jeffrey. About the way he looked at her like she was the answer to a question he'd been asking his whole life. About the way he made her laugh. About the feeling of his hand in hers and the certainty that she'd found something rare and precious and real. Jennifer picked up her phone and texted Richard. Find someone else for the pitch. I'm going to Boston. His response came immediately. Good. Go get him. Jennifer grabbed her bag and left the office. She drove straight to her apartment building, took the stairs 2 at a time, and knocked on Jeffrey's door. Still no answer. She tried calling again. Voicemail. Jennifer sat down in the hallway outside his apartment and waited. 1 hour. 2 hours. 3. She called Simone and told her what she'd decided. She called the airline and changed her ticket to the original flight. She sent emails to her team apologizing for backing out of the pitch and wishing them luck. And she waited. At 4:30, the elevator doors opened. Jeffrey stepped out, wearing running clothes, headphones in his ears. He stopped when he saw her sitting outside his door. He pulled out his headphones. What are you doing here? Jennifer stood up. I'm not going to the pitch. I'm going to Boston. With you. If you still want me to come. Jeffrey's expression didn't change. What about your career? Your big opportunity? Richard found someone else. The pitch will be fine without me. Just like that? You changed your mind just like that? No. Not just like that. I spent 3 days thinking about what matters. About what I want my life to look like. Jennifer took a step closer. I want a career I'm proud of. Work that fulfills me. But I also want more than work. I want love. Partnership. Someone to share my life with. And I want that someone to be you. Jeffrey's jaw tightened. You hurt me, Jennifer. You made me feel like I didn't matter. Like I was just a convenience you could fit into your schedule when it worked for you. I know. And I'm sorry. I was scared. Of what? Of needing you. Of letting you become important enough that losing you would destroy me. Jennifer's voice cracked. I lost my mom. I know what that kind of loss feels like. And somewhere in the back of my mind, I convinced myself that if I kept you at a distance, if I prioritized my career over our relationship, I'd be safe. Protected. But I was wrong. Because these last 3 days without you have been worse than any loss I've experienced. And we're not even together anymore. We're not together, Jeffrey said quietly. We just hit our first real obstacle. And I handled it terribly. You handled it like someone who's been taking care of herself for so long that she forgot what it's like to have someone else to consider. Jeffrey ran a hand through his hair. I wasn't fair either. I gave you an ultimatum. I made it about choosing between me and your career when it should have been about finding a way to honor both. I chose you, Jennifer said. I chose us. I told Richard to find someone else because nothing about that pitch matters if I lose you in the process. Jeffrey stepped closer. I don't want you to resent me. I don't want you to look back in 5 years and regret giving up an opportunity for me. I won't. Because you're not an opportunity I'm giving up. You're the life I'm choosing to build. Jennifer reached for his hand. I love you, Jeffrey. I'm in love with you. Completely. And I should have said that 3 days ago instead of making it about work schedules and obligations. Jeffrey pulled her into his arms, holding her so tight she could barely breathe. I love you too. So much it terrifies me. Good. We can be terrified together. He laughed, the sound breaking through the tension. I'm sorry I shut you out. I'm sorry I didn't answer your calls. I was hurt and I reverted to old patterns. Withdrawal instead of communication. We're both learning, Jennifer said into his chest. We're both carrying old wounds into something new. We're going to mess up sometimes. Jeffrey pulled back enough to look at her face. His hands cupped her cheeks, thumbs brushing away tears she hadn't realized were falling. Promise me something. Anything. Promise me we'll talk. Next time we hit an obstacle, next time we're scared or hurt or confused, we'll talk instead of running. We'll figure it out together. I promise, Jennifer said. No more running. Jeffrey kissed her then, soft and slow and full of relief. Jennifer melted into him, her hands fisting in his shirt, holding on like he might disappear if she let go. When they finally pulled apart, Jeffrey rested his forehead against hers. We leave for Boston Wednesday morning. 6 a.m. flight. I'll be ready. My family is going to love you. My mother has already bought you a Christmas present even though she's only met you once. That's slightly terrifying. Welcome to the Lockwood family. We're intense but we mean well. Jeffrey took her hand and unlocked his apartment door. Come inside. Let me make you dinner. Let me spend the rest of the evening reminding you why choosing us was the right decision. Jennifer followed him inside. The apartment was messier than she'd ever seen it. Empty coffee cups on the counter. Papers scattered across the dining table. Evidence of 3 days of a man trying to work through heartbreak. I was going to clean before you saw this, Jeffrey said, looking around with embarrassment. I like it. It's human. Real. Jennifer wrapped her arms around him from behind. I like knowing I'm not the only one who fell apart. Jeffrey turned in her arms and kissed her forehead. I couldn't eat. Couldn't sleep. Couldn't focus on work. All I could think about was that I'd lost you over something that could have been solved with a conversation. You didn't lose me. I'm right here. Don't leave again. I won't. They ordered Thai food and ate it sitting on his couch, Jennifer's legs draped over Jeffrey's lap, his hand resting on her knee. They talked about Boston. About his family. About the house he grew up in and the traditions they kept. About how his mother insisted on making a turkey even though no one really liked turkey, and how his father always burned the dinner rolls, and how his brother always started a political argument over dessert. It sounds perfect, Jennifer said. It's chaotic. But it's home. Jeffrey's fingers traced patterns on her shin. I want you to feel at home there too. With them. With me. I already feel at home with you. Later, when the food was gone and the conversation had turned to quieter topics, Jeffrey pulled Jennifer closer. She rested her head on his chest, listening to his heartbeat, steady and sure. I was thinking, he said into the comfortable silence. About what? About what comes after Boston. About what our life looks like in January and February and beyond. Jennifer lifted her head to look at him. What do you want it to look like? I want more of this. More nights on the couch. More shared meals. More conversations that last until midnight. Jeffrey's hand moved to her hair, fingers threading through the curls. I want to wake up next to you. I want to know what you look like first thing in the morning. I want to build something real with you, Jennifer. Something lasting. That sounds like you're asking me to move in with you. Not yet. But maybe soon. When you're ready. When it feels right. Jeffrey smiled. I'm just letting you know where my head is. Where my heart is. My heart is in the same place, Jennifer said softly. Scared but hopeful. Nervous but certain. Certain of what? That this is real. That you're real. That what we have is worth fighting for. Jeffrey kissed her, long and deep and thorough. It is worth fighting for. You are worth fighting for. They stayed on the couch until midnight, talking and kissing and planning their trip to Boston. When Jennifer finally went back to her own apartment, she felt lighter than she had in days. Whole again. Home again. She climbed into bed and looked at her phone. A text from Jeffrey was waiting. Thank you for choosing us. I'll spend every day making sure you never regret it. Jennifer typed back. I could never regret you. See you Wednesday morning. I love you. I love you too. Sleep well. Jennifer set down her phone and closed her eyes. In 3 days, she'd meet Jeffrey's extended family. She'd spend Christmas in Boston. She'd step fully into this relationship and all the beautiful, terrifying possibilities it held. But tonight, she just needed to sleep. To rest. To let go of the fear and the doubt and trust that she'd made the right choice. Because she had chosen love over fear. And that was always the right choice. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button for more emotional and heart-touching stories that speak to the soul, and share your thoughts in the comments to tell us which story you want to hear next. Now let us continue. The flight to Boston took off exactly on time Wednesday morning. Jennifer sat in the first-class seat Jeffrey had booked, watching Charleston disappear below them, and felt a mix of nervousness and excitement that made her hands shake slightly. Jeffrey noticed. He reached over and laced his fingers through hers. "They're going to love you. You keep saying that. Because it's true. My mother has already asked if you have any dietary restrictions. My father wants to show you his collection of first edition books. My brother texted me yesterday to ask if you're a Patriots fan because apparently that's a deal-breaker. I don't know anything about football. Perfect. You can be neutral Switzerland in our family's ongoing sports debates." Jeffrey lifted her hand and kissed her knuckles. "Just be yourself. That's all they want to see. The woman who makes me happy." Boston was cold and beautiful, the city dressed in Christmas lights and fresh snow. Jeffrey's childhood home was in Brookline, a stately colonial with a wreath on the door and candles in every window. His mother opened the door before they even knocked, pulling Jeffrey into a hug and then immediately doing the same to Jennifer. "I'm so glad you're here," Patricia said warmly. Come in, come in. You must be freezing. Jeffrey, take her coat. Jennifer, there's hot cider in the kitchen." Charles is building a fire that doesn't need building because the house is already warm, but he insists it's tradition. The next 3 days passed in a blur of family dinners and board games and stories about Jeffrey's childhood. His brother Michael arrived on Christmas Eve with his wife and 2 young daughters who immediately adopted Jennifer as their new favorite person. They dragged her into snowball fights and cookie decorating and elaborate games of hide and seek through the big house. Jeffrey watched it all with a smile that never quite left his face. Jennifer would catch him looking at her across the dinner table or from across the living room, his expression soft and full of something that made her heart skip. On Christmas morning, the family gathered around the tree. Jeffrey's nieces tore through their presents with gleeful abandon. The adults opened gifts with more restraint but equal pleasure. Patricia gave Jennifer a beautiful cashmere scarf in deep purple. Charles presented her with a first-edition copy of Their Eyes Were Watching God. "Jeffrey mentioned you love Zora Neale Hurston," he said. "I found this at an estate sale last year and saved it for the right person." Jennifer held the book carefully, overwhelmed. "This is too much. I can't accept this." "Of course you can. You're family now." Charles said it simply, like it was already decided. Jennifer looked at Jeffrey, who was watching her with wet eyes and a smile that took her breath away. Later, after the presents were opened and the wrapping paper cleaned up, Jeffrey took Jennifer's hand. "Come with me. I want to show you something." He led her upstairs to his childhood bedroom. It was exactly what she'd expected. Bookshelves overflowing with science fiction and programming manuals. A desk still holding his first computer. Posters of bands from the early 2000s. A younger Jeffrey frozen in photographs on the walls. "This is where I became who I am," he said, looking around. "Where I learned to code. Where I dreamed about building something that mattered. Where I planned my whole future." "It's perfect," Jennifer said. "But you know what's funny? All those plans, all those dreams, none of them included the thing that actually matters most." Jeffrey turned to face her. "None of them included love. Real love. The kind that makes everything else make sense." "Jeffrey. Let me finish. Please." He took both her hands. "When I knocked on your door with your mail, I thought I was just meeting a beautiful woman. I didn't know I was meeting my future. I didn't know that in less than a month, you'd become the most important person in my life." Jennifer's heart was pounding. "You're my most important person too. I know we haven't known each other long. I know some people would say this is too fast, too soon, too intense. But I've spent 37 years building a life that looked successful from the outside and felt empty on the inside. And then I met you, and suddenly everything changed. Suddenly I understood what I'd been missing. What I'd been searching for." Jeffrey reached into his pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. Jennifer's breath caught. "I'm not asking you to marry me today," he said quickly. "I know we need more time. We need to keep learning each other, keep building what we have. But I'm asking you for a promise. A commitment. A declaration that this is real and we're in it together." He opened the box. Inside was a ring, but not an engagement ring. It was a simple band of white gold with a small diamond flanked by 2 sapphires. "This is a promise ring," Jeffrey said. "A promise that I'm yours and you're mine. A promise that we're building toward forever, even if we're not there yet. A promise that I will love you and choose you and fight for us every single day." Tears were streaming down Jennifer's face. "Jeffrey. Will you wear it? Will you promise me the same things I'm promising you?" "Yes. Yes, of course yes." Jennifer held out her hand, and Jeffrey slipped the ring onto her right hand. It fit perfectly. He pulled her into his arms and kissed her, deep and slow and full of promise. When they finally pulled apart, both of them were crying and laughing at the same time. I love you so much, Jennifer said. So much. I love you too. More than I knew it was possible to love someone. Jeffrey wiped the tears from her cheeks. You're my person, Jennifer. My home. My future. You're mine too. They went back downstairs hand in hand. Patricia noticed the ring immediately. Her eyes went wide, then soft, then filled with tears. Mom, it's a promise ring, Jeffrey said quickly. Not an engagement ring. We're not engaged. Yet, Patricia said, pulling them both into a hug. You're not engaged yet. But you will be. I can see it. You two are going to build something beautiful together. We already are, Jennifer said. That evening, after dinner and more family time, Jennifer and Jeffrey walked through the snow-covered neighborhood. Christmas lights twinkled in windows. The air was cold and crisp and perfect. Thank you for bringing me here, Jennifer said. For sharing your family with me. For making me feel like I belong. You do belong. With them. With me. Wherever I am, that's where you belong. Jeffrey stopped walking and turned to face her. I meant what I said earlier. About building toward forever. I want to marry you, Jennifer. Maybe not tomorrow or next month, but someday. I want to wake up next to you for the rest of my life. I want to build a family with you. I want everything. I want that too, Jennifer said. All of it. With you. They stood in the quiet street, snow falling softly around them, holding each other close. And Jennifer felt something she hadn't felt in 2 years. Complete peace. Total certainty. The absolute knowledge that she was exactly where she was supposed to be. The months that followed were full of growth and joy and the beautiful work of building a life together. Jeffrey spent more time in Charleston, less time traveling for work. He restructured his role at the company, delegating more, trusting his team, choosing presence over constant hustle. Jennifer threw herself into her work with renewed passion, creating designs that won awards and brought in major clients. But she also learned to set boundaries, to leave work at the office, to prioritize the life she was building with Jeffrey. In February, they took a trip to Savannah for Valentine's Day. Jeffrey rented a room at a historic inn overlooking the river. They walked through the moss-draped squares, ate at tiny restaurants tucked into centuries-old buildings, and talked about their future with the easy confidence of people who knew they were building something that would last. In March, Jennifer met Jeffrey's college friends when they came to Charleston for a weekend. They told her stories about young Jeffrey, brilliant and awkward and so focused on his goals that he sometimes forgot to eat or sleep. They also told her they'd never seen him this happy, this present, this fully alive. In April, on a perfect spring evening, Jeffrey took Jennifer to Sullivan's Island. The same beach where they'd had their first kiss. The same stretch of sand where she'd told him about her mother and he'd listened with the kind of attention that made her feel truly seen. They walked along the shore as the sun set, painting the sky in shades of pink and gold. Jennifer had her shoes in her hand, her feet bare in the cool sand, her hair blowing in the ocean breeze. I have something to tell you, Jeffrey said. Jennifer looked at him. Should I be worried? No. Definitely not. He stopped walking and turned to face her. I've been thinking about what I want my life to look like. What I want our life to look like. And I've made some decisions. What kind of decisions? I'm stepping down as CEO of Lockwood Technologies. Jennifer's eyes went wide. What? Jeffrey, that's your company. That's everything you've built. It was everything I'd built. But it's not everything I want to build moving forward. Jeffrey took her hands. I'm not walking away completely. I'll stay on the board. I'll consult on major decisions. But day-to-day operations, the constant travel, the endless meetings, I'm done with all of that. I want my time back. I want my life back. I want to spend my days doing things that matter to me. And you matter to me more than any company ever could. Are you sure about this? I've never been more sure of anything. Well, except one thing. Jeffrey reached into his pocket and pulled out another velvet box. This one Jennifer recognized. Her heart stopped. Jeffrey. I know I said the promise ring wasn't an engagement ring. I know I said we needed more time. But we've had 5 months, Jennifer. 5 months of building a life together. 5 months of learning each other. 5 months of proving that what we have is real and lasting and worth everything. He opened the box, revealing a stunning diamond ring that caught the sunset light and threw rainbows across the sand. I don't want to wait anymore. I don't want to keep building toward forever. I want to start forever now. Today. With you. Jeffrey dropped to one knee in the sand. Jennifer Peterson, will you marry me? Will you let me spend the rest of my life loving you and choosing you and building a beautiful life with you? Will you be my wife? Jennifer was crying, laughing, her whole body shaking with joy. Yes. Yes, absolutely yes. 1,000 times yes. Jeffrey stood and slipped the ring onto her finger, right next to the promise ring he'd given her at Christmas. Then he lifted her off her feet and spun her around, both of them laughing and crying in the golden light of the setting sun. "I love you," Jennifer said when he set her down. "I love you so much I don't have words for it. Then show me. Marry me. Build a life with me. Wake up next to me every morning for the rest of our lives." "When?" Jennifer asked. "Whenever you want. Tomorrow. Next month. Next year. I don't care. As long as I know you're mine and I'm yours. How about this summer? Something small. Just family and close friends. Maybe here in Charleston. Maybe on this beach." "Perfect. Absolutely perfect." Jeffrey kissed her, deep and thorough and full of promise. "You're perfect." They stayed on the beach until the stars came out, making plans and dreaming dreams and holding each other close. And when they finally drove back to their building, Jeffrey didn't drop Jennifer at her apartment. She went home with him. To his place that had slowly become their place over the past 5 months. That night, lying in bed with Jennifer in his arms, Jeffrey whispered into the darkness. "Thank you for opening your door that day." "Thank you for knocking," Jennifer whispered back. "I'm going to knock on your door every day for the rest of our lives. Metaphorically speaking." "Good. I'll always answer." They were married on August 15th on Sullivan's Island, with the ocean as their backdrop and the people they loved as their witnesses. Patricia cried through the entire ceremony. Charles gave a toast about finding your person and holding on tight. Michael's daughters threw flower petals with enthusiastic abandon. Simone served as maid of honor and told embarrassing stories about Jennifer during the reception. And when Jeffrey and Jennifer exchanged vows, promising to love and honor and choose each other through whatever came, there wasn't a dry eye on the beach. 6 months later, they bought a house in downtown Charleston with a view of the harbor and enough room for the family they were planning. Jeffrey consulted part-time for his company and spent the rest of his time on passion projects and non-profit work. Jennifer made partner at her firm and started mentoring young designers. And every Thanksgiving, they hosted dinner at their home. Jeffrey always overordered Chinese food as a joke. Jennifer always made a proper turkey to go with it. And they always spent part of the evening telling the story of how they met, how a knock on the door and some misdelivered mail had changed everything. "Best mistake the mailman ever made," Jeffrey would say. "Best decision I ever made was opening the door," Jennifer would reply. And then they'd look at each other with the kind of love that only grows deeper with time, the kind of love that survives obstacles and chooses commitment and builds something beautiful from unexpected beginnings. Because sometimes love knocks when you least expect it. And sometimes, if you're brave enough to answer, it changes your whole life. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button for more emotional and heart-touching stories that speak to the soul, and share your thoughts in the comments to tell us which story you want to hear next.